Hello everybody and welcome to the June 11th, 2018 edition of the Ephrom Josine Show. I am your host, Ephrom Josine. The first thing I'd like to announce today is that we have an official Canadian correspondent for the Ephrom Report. Now, as many of you know, if you watched the May updates video, I actually talked about expanding the blog, and I have managed to do so. We have, in fact, a Canadian correspondent who goes by the name of J.P. Savard, aka at Juju2143 on Twitter. A link to both his Twitter and the first article he wrote for us on the G7 elections currently going on in Ontario will be in the description. However, you may not be able to read the blog, that being, of course, still ephromjosine.blogspot.com, because net neutrality officially ended today. The legislation that was going to do so is going to reverse Ajit Pai's repeal has officially failed in the House of Representatives, and of course, even if it made it there, the president was going to veto it. Now, luckily, all the SJWs are still angry, so that's what really matters in the end. Ruining the internet to trigger the libs is one of the greatest conservative strategies of all time, and that's how we're going to re-elect Donald Trump. That may be the dumbest thing I've ever said on this show. And mind you, this is the show where I once ate a burger while recording just to annoy Matt Walsh. Luckily, many liberal states are actually proposing, and some of you didn't pass, net neutrality legislation within the state. So while it's not a federal thing, it is going to be a state thing. However, if you do live in a red or typically purple but red leaning state, you could still be screwed. Now, I think there is one way we could theoretically get net neutrality back. However, it would involve all of us coming together, buying Comcast, and making it so not only do we censor all conservative websites, but the message is specifically, this is because net neutrality is over. So when you try and click on Breitbart or something, you get informed that you're the one who caused this. However, none of us have that kind of money, so what are we going to do? I don't know. Unless you do have that kind of money, in which case, do it. For the love of God, do it. Or if you and 100 other people can band together that kind of money, do it. For the love of God. Now, on the bright side, this could also lead to the shutdown of racist websites or right-wing websites that are bad for business. But there are two negatives. One, that would also lead to the shutdown of anti-war websites and pro-universal healthcare websites and anti-tax cut websites and all those, or anti-right-to-work websites, which are also bad for business. And two, this whole show thrives on racist and right-wing websites. So what's good for their business is kind of good for my business. So I may be screwed. I hope I'm not, but I have to look to the future of this, because if they start slowing down Daily Wire or Louder with Crowder or Town Hall or something like that, you may think, oh, only right-wing racists read that website. Well, so do I. So I can make fun of it. This whole show was made to counter the right-wing viewpoint of new media. If it goes, I go too. And you know what? I'm not going down without a fight. So, to anyone who watches this show, I know I only have like 300 subscribers, but to all of them, when you fight for the Daily Wire, or Breitbart, or any of them, you're also fighting for me. So please, let's put some gloves on, people. In fact, to prove how important this is to me, let's talk about a story right now. Now, I know I have another post coming on this guy's too, and I just did one not too long ago. But Dinesh D'Souza, the conservative filmmaker who Donald Trump just pardoned, He is releasing a new movie this August called Death of a Nation. Can we save America a second time? Now, I think someone should inform him that The Birth of a Nation is an incredibly racist film, and it may not be best to, if you're working in film, title anything and something similar to that, but that's more an unfortunate implication than downright racism. I don't think the series is racist, for the record. His pinned tweet for the movie is, I'm not making this up, Lincoln united his party and saved America from the Democrats for the first time. Can Trump and we come together to save America for the second time? Hashtag Death of a Nation. Oh God. It sounds awful because it is. Here's the thing. Dinesh D'Souza, who may I remind you is, I think, an Indian man. I don't think he's... So he should have some experience in slavery and taking it kind of sensitively. He just compared Donald Trump to Abraham Lincoln. Isn't that one of those things in the Overton window that you don't do? And mind you, I did see Hillary's America. I wrote a post about it a while back on Ephrom Josine at blogspot.com. It was not very good. I expect this one to also not be very good. For that matter, let's read his own review of Hillary's America. Hillary's America is widely credited with contributing to Hillary Clinton's defeat in 2016. It won a Razzie for Worst Picture. Just saying, Dinesh, I wouldn't be bragging about it. Here's some more. It's from the website. Who is killing America? The left blames the death of our nation on fascism. So do you, by the way. You claim the left is fascist, and you claim they're destroying the nation. Racism. Didn't you just make a film? In fact, didn't you just make 3 films, honestly? Calling Democrats racist? And white supremacy. I'm just referring to my last point. All because of Trump's election in the Republican Party. But which party is actually the party of fascism and racism? You see what I mean? He just did that. It's like, oh, the left thinks racism is what destroys America. And it is. But they're the racists. And for that matter, I want to say, if your greatest civil rights accomplishment is the Civil Rights Act of 1864, your party is kind of not that good. Just saying. Like, you could have done something in the 154 years since then, you know? But I'm being unfair. What's the overview of the film? And may I remind you, D'Souza wrote this. Not since 1860 have the Democrats so fanatically refused to accept the results of a free election. That year, their target was Lincoln. They smeared him. They went to war to defeat him, which is what we did. With Trump, by the way, we're going to war right now. In the end, they assassinated him. You kind of skipped over some stuff there, but yeah, both the Civil War and his assassination happened. Now the target of the Democrats is President Trump and his supporters. The left calls them racist, white supremacists, and fascist. These charges are used to justify driving Trump from office and discrediting the right by any means necessary. But which is the party of the slave plantation? Didn't Steve Bannon write an article about why we should keep the Confederate flag up? Which party is the party that invented white supremacy? No one invented white supremacy, dude. It just sort of has always been around. Which is the party that praised fascist dictatorships and shaped their genocidal politics and was in turn praised by them. Roosevelt fought Hitler. That is all. Now, mind you, he had to team up with Stalin to do that, but sometimes you have to do that in foreign policy. And the fact is, if Stalin and Hitler worked together, the Nazis would have probably won the war. Moreover, which is the party of racism today, is fascism now institutionally embodied on the right or on the left? Neither! I'm sorry, but for every Nathan Bedford Fords or John C. Calhoun in the Democratic Party, there's a Jesse Helms or a Strom Thurmond in the Republican Party. Heck, Strom Thurmond even became a Republican just because Johnson signed the Civil Rights Act. Oh, did you notice, by the way, all 4 of those people are dead? And which ones died later, by the way? I'll give you a hint. It was Thurman and Helms. Through stunning historical recreations and searching examinations of fascism and white supremacy, Death of a Nation cuts through progressive big lies to expose hidden history and explosive truths. Lincoln united his party. No, he didn't. He did not. That's kind of a lie. His war was very controversial. And not just there were people who owned slaves. There were states, there were slave states in the Union. The Emancipation Proclamation only freed slaves in Confederate states, which also didn't do anything, but, you know. Can Trump and we come together to save America for the second time? So people, don't slow down websites like this. Otherwise, what will I talk about? Because this all affects me. I'm Ephrom, and good night.